The Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano has commissioned a multi-purpose facility in Awka, which is the first of its kind in the southeast. The centre, which will operate on a 24-hour basis, has several facilities including the gas filling station, eateries, a pharmacy, farmers market, bakery, among others.
These people are here to witness the unveiling of a new multi-purpose edifice along the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway in Awka, the Anambra state capital. The arrival of the state governor, Willie Obiano, sets the tone for the day's event, and he seems quite satisfied with what he sees. The centre, which has several facilities like a fuel station, restaurants, pharmacy, farmers market, a bakery and many more, will run a 24-hour service. The managing director of Anambra State Investment Promotion and Protection Agency says indigenes are obeying the clarion call to invest in the state.
ANSIPA, in collaboration with the Ministry of Land, Fiscal Plan and Rural Development, is already taking steps to procure adequate lands for Standard Oil to replicate what you see here today at Onitsha and Nnewi.
According to the Chief Executive Officer of Stanol Group, initiatives like this will bring in more revenue for the state.
Stanol Group is a holding company and its subsidiaries are into oil and gas, real estate, auto parts repairs, confectionaries, agriculture, college, amongst others.
As for Governor Willie Obiano, investors should utilize the security infrastructure in the state.
Investment has created over 500 direct jobs. The second is that it is a 24-hour gas station that marks it out as an endorsement of the great efforts we have made to secure our beloved state. For those who have yet to consider the attractive benefits of investing at home, we are waiting for you. We are ready to help you. Anambra is ready for business.
As the Stanol multi-purpose facility opens for business, more investors are likely to take advantage of the friendly environment provided for by the Obiano administration.
In a world which has shrunk into a global village, the increasing numbers of non-for-profit organizations have begun to look for the answers to questions of funding, visibility and impact. Recognizing this, the Spire Coronation Trust, a grant-making non-profit organization, gathered prayers in the sectors for an interactive meeting tagged Connecting the Dots partnership that work to address challenges and explore avenues of cooperation.
Well-managed NGOs.
Most of those seated, heads of private, public or social not-for-profit entities, have one thing in common. They are motivated to do something good to better the society.
If you do all of this right.
But according to the main speaker at this event, more is needed to make a success of entrepreneurship.
Self-reliant, strive for distinction. You are highly optimistic of the outcomes you pursue, but that does not mean that you are reckless.
He adds that they should strive to be excellent people managers.
If it's in recruiting, if it's putting together its rules of financial management, in the area of governance and so on, they've done their best.
What follows is a discussion by a panel of experts, proffering solutions for the problems that ail the sector.
Public value proposition, the legitimacy and trust and the operational capability must align.
The reporting, the clarity of 1 naira went here, 50 kobo went here, without any extra stories is really critical.
And for those who feel that the lifeline of their enterprise is in the government's hands, more work is required.
Where we have successfully engaged with government, it's really around how, when we've come up with a very clear objective that we want to deliver on. Where we have spread ourselves too thin, we've been very unsuccessful.
The role of government is to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. And we've talked about the tripod of where the social sector comes in. We need that independent touch point that is separate from government, separate from private sector, the conscience, as it were.
For the CEO of ACT Foundation, this maiden meeting has opened up the conversation for future engagement.
There's so many things that people are worried about, and somebody else has a solution to that issue, but they are not meeting to come up. So we had to make sure that we can all be in the same room, listen to the issues we're dealing with, and can we all come with a solution? Or even if it's not today, how can we move forward?
There are so many players in what has been termed the third sector, many of them having overlapping purposes. And the consensus here is that people involved in the not-for-profit sector should be disciplined, collaborative in purpose, and transparent in finances to have greater and more sustainable impact on the society. Mary Alale Yusuf, Channels Television News.
Let's quickly shift gears now, shall we, to business news with Anwar Odo.
Thank you, Gimba, and welcome to Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria boosted the retail segment of the interbank foreign exchange market with $254.3 million on Friday. The acting director corporate communications at the CBN, Mr. Isaac Okorafor, explains that the sale was in response to bids received from authorized dealers on behalf of their customers at the retail auction announced by the CBN on Wednesday, July the 5th, 2017. He says the $254.3 million sold was for companies in raw materials, agriculture, airline, and petroleum industry. Nigeria's local currency, the naira, is expected to remain steady on the foreign exchange market in the coming days as the central bank continues to inject dollars to improve liquidity. But the local currency exchanged at an average of 364 to the dollar in the street market across major trading points in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt and Kano. The president of the Bureau de Change Association, Aminu Gwadabe, says the BDCs do not see any change soon as the CBN sustains its intervention and tightens naira liquidity. Well, the interbank lending rate ended the week higher at about 15% from 5% last week after commercial lenders paid for dollar and treasury bill purchases. Traders say that the CBN sold dollars twice this week, but the sale of 25.67 billion naira in treasury bills on Wednesday pushed up borrowing costs. And according to market watchers, borrowing costs are expected to rise next week because the CBN is likely to continue its forex interventions. And the federal government plans to sell 135 billion naira worth of bonds at an auction on Wednesday, July the 12th. The Debt Management Office says that 35 billion naira will be sold at 14.5% to mature in July 2021. 50 billion will be sold at 16.28% and to mature in March 2027, while another 50 billion naira paper will be sold at 16.24% to mature in April 2037. And that's business news for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you a profitable week ahead. I'm Anne Nwaudu. Back to you.
Well, becoming an entrepreneur is not an easy feat, which is why Junior Achievement Nigeria is training young girls between the ages of 5 and 27 years at this year's edition of its lead camp. The camp, which is expected to address socio-economic goals, gender equality and employment of women and girls, will run between July the 9th to the 15th in Lagos.
With the state of unemployment in the country today, the Junior Achievements Nigeria has set out to continue to improve the lives of Nigerian youths by building their confidence as regards financial literacy and entrepreneurship.
When you have resources,
working with different volunteers to implement the programs, Junior Achievement Nigeria has so far impacted over 690 students and youths across the country.
We are working to expand our reach all across the country, because presently we are working in about 29 cities all across the country, but we want to expand our reach to every state of the country so that more youths in and out of school can benefit from our program.
This year is no different, with the Lead Camp set to be held between the 9th and the 15th of July.
The mission of Lead Camp is to inspire and empower young girls to become high-achieving women leaders. This addresses Social Development Goals SDG 5, gender equality and empowerment of women and girls. The participants are taken through a series of leadership workshops administered by HOD Consulting Incorporated and are exposed and mentored by leading women in private and public sectors in Nigeria. They share tips on building successful careers. To be eligible, beneficiaries have to have previously participated in the Junior Achievement Nigeria flagship company program.
A former beneficiary of the scheme shares her experience on what young girls can look forward to.
Camp was a really, really amazing opportunity for me and for all the girls that happened to take part in the program that year. Some of them who I'm still friends with after having met them at the JA camp. We had the opportunity to hear a lot of amazing and accomplished women come and speak to us about different things, about being bold, about taking charge, about being decisive in the decisions you make. What is that?
With this upcoming camp, young girls can be better equipped and empowered to build on their dreams for the future. Victoria Ido reporting for Channels Television News.
Are you or someone around you having pain, stiffness or swellings in and around one or more joints in your body? If yes, then it's time to see a doctor who may raise the red flag for arthritis. Our correspondent Yomi Otaigwe reports.
Walking or moving from one place to another appears effortless on the surface. But looking deeper through this 3D animation, you can see the active roles the bones and joints play in movement. However, these joint functions can be impaired by a medical condition known as arthritis.
We say arthritis, simply put, is a chronic degenerative condition of any joint in the body. Right from the joints in the neck, to the back, to the upper limbs, to the spine, the lower limbs, even the foot and the ankle. Two bones articulate to make a joint. And at the ends of each of those bones, where we've called the cartilage. Now that cartilage is usually nourished by what we call the synovial fluid. Now if for reasons starting from trauma, for example, if someone has had a fracture or a dislocation around the joint, then even infective processes, it can damage the articular cartilage of that joint. You understand? And if it's a weight-bearing joint, for example, when you put more load and stress on that joint, the rate of regeneration of that cartilage would be faster. Eventually, the cartilage thins out and eventually it is lost. So it now gets to a point where bone is now rubbing on bone.
These bones rubbing on each other result in pain, which is one of the symptoms of arthritis. Trauma and orthopedic surgeons say a large number of people, both young and old, who visit the orthopedic clinics in public hospitals have arthritis.
If you look at arthritis, we look at it as a primary and secondary. A primary in which we can't really lay our hands on a cause, a significant cause of it. And then the secondary is a type of arthritis where you can say this is what causes it, has an etiology, a particular cause. And in such situations, we see it in the earlier age group. If you notice generally in our population, we have people with either bow leg or K leg. Understand? Because that changes the line of vertebrae. They are likely to be affected by osteoarthritis earlier in life if it's not corrected early enough. Then infections should affect the joints, tuberculosis, maybe an aseptic arthritis, any bacterial infection in the joint, which, if they are not properly managed, will also lead to early onset osteoarthritis.
Apart from drug treatment, the use of assisted weight-bearing aids, and a last resort to surgery, here are more tips on the management and preventive measures against arthritis.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Rivers United shifts focus to domestic assignments after crashing out of the CAF Confederation Cup group phase. That's coming up on Sports News. Stay with us.